12:01 on a game day. Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Nielson with you on the Oil Stream today. Tommy Gazzola will have pre- and post-game coverage tonight of the Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. He will be for pre- and post-game tonight down on White at Hudson's. He and YouTube Trav, Matt Cassian talking you through things. Pre-game show starts at 5:30 tonight right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your comments will be encouraged and needed today. It's just going to be me. I'm going to be flying solo. And many of you who've been around since the Nielson show this morning know that we've been talking about it. We've got a big follow-up meeting today. And without Tommy here today, we're going to have to cut the Oil Stream a little bit short because I got to go to this meeting. I can't be late for it. So Oil Stream is only going to go to 12:30 today. And Maddie, then are we going to Nielson show replay? Did he already leave? No. Yeah, anyway, Matt's going to set that up. We'll have Nielsen show, something on TuneIn and iHeart up until whether or not the Nielsen show replay starts at 1 or at 12:30. But we'll have that coming up for you. But, yeah, big meeting today for Edmonton Sports Talk. So Oil Stream's going to go until 12:30. So hammer in your questions, hammer in your thoughts early. We're going to dive into these line combinations and get you ready for the Oilers and Avs as best we can. Okay, Nielsen show replay coming up on TuneIn and iHeart at 12:30 today. And, yeah, let's go. Hit us up in the nasty chat. And on the text line at 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. The Oil Stream, as always, brought to you by Boston Pizza. We'll have another on location at Boston Pizza coming up late April. Late April will be the next one. I believe we're going to be in St. Albert, but I'll give you all the details on that. And hit up any of the Boston Pizza lounges on game day. You will end up getting a $5 off medium pizzas. They got deals on some tankers. They got some shots that they've got set up over there at Boston Pizza for you as well. And as we always like to say, the square footer pizza that these guys have rolled out at Boston Pizza are absolutely unbelievable pizzas. If you haven't tried it yet, you have to. I took part of mine home from the last time we were out doing an Oil Stream, and the family just absolutely destroyed it. They loved it. It was delicious. Find it at Boston Pizza. Lars Wise says, nice intercom system you guys have. I mean, what else are we supposed to do? The office isn't that big. I can just yell to Maddie and we'll get an answer right away. So it's a nice turnaround. Richard Croft says, a half hour Oil Stream is like running out of chocolate pudding in one of those little cups. Yeah, you wanted more, right? You wanted more. Dash over on Heavy Hockey says, 10 hours of WrestleMania and 200 hours of indie wrestling. Please. It's a glorious week to be alive. PLEs. I don't know. Dash, you're going to have to explain to me what's going on over there. Sean Zizan says, oh boy, Dusty's getting serious. Hat's on backward. Yes, it is. Let's talk. I just had my hat on forwards all day. I mean, it's time to lighten up a little bit. All right, this is, see, that's the big conversation today. We're going to get to it. The Edmonton Oilers are playing the Colorado Avalanche tonight, and Leon Draisaitl, after having one of his worst games of the season, gets rewarded by playing with Connor McDavid tonight. Your thoughts on that? And here we are, 2 weeks away from the playoffs starting, and they have a big game, and they're going back nuclear option. When they get away from it, they try to get away from it, and then they go back to it. Now, tonight, go back to it. This is the way they roll against the Avs, head-to-head against McKinnon and Rantanen, and you go from there. I kind of don't like it because the Avs second line, it's not great, but I still think the Avs second line can outplay a Oilers second line that's built around Nuge. Had to be said. 780-218-9999. Hit us up in the nasty chat. Your thoughts on the line combinations tonight. We're going to give you those as we work our way through the show, and by that I mean we are going to give them to you right away as they go with the big boys together up front. I saw Rashog tweeting that Gulletson appeared to be running practice today as well. Knobloch was out there, but kind of just letting Glenn Gulletson, who the guys absolutely love, as Tommy stated a number of times, letting Gully kind of run through practice. But here are your line combinations for the game tonight. You will have McDavid between Hyman and Leon Draisaitl. You will have Nuge with Fogle and Henrique. And you will have McLeod with Kane and Perry. So all three lines in your top nine are different than they were in the game against Dallas. Fourth line, Connor Brown, Derek Ryan, Matthias Janmark. So that's what they're going to apparently roll out tonight against the Colorado Avalanche. Your thoughts on all of it? Let's go. 780-218-9999 or hit us up in the Nasty Chat today as well. Coach Mike is in and says, during the 16-game heater, weren't 93, 97, and 18 together every game? Leave that line together and figure out the rest. That's from Coach Mike. And I agree. So they put McDavid and Draisaitl together, and they go nuclear line. And you guys can all correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman's a better line. I do. I think that's the line that you want to go with. So I don't necessarily love it. I remember it was over a month ago, Leon Draisaitl's 5-on-5 goals while playing with Connor McDavid. Like within about a month ago, he had 2. 3 weeks ago, he had 2. So it's not like it works well in games where you'll put, and look, I'm saying all this, I'm going on this rant, and what's going to happen tonight? That top line's going to light them up, and they're going to win, and everybody's going to be like, that's great. But for me, I think I like it better when, and I think it's more dangerous when after a penalty kill or, the odd time when they'll throw them together in game for a shift here or there. I just like Nuge, Fogle, and Henrique. What do you expect from a Nuge, Fogle, Henrique line? Try not to be disrespectful, but your top 6 is not near as well balanced if you don't have Leon Draisaitl. I don't know why they just go back to Draisaitl with McLeod and Fogle, and then throw Henrique and Perry and Kane together on some sort of veteran line and let them plug their way through. Omar Gord says strength on strength tonight, which is the way you want to look at it. But I like Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman better. I think it's a stronger line. So to me, that would be strength on strength. This is just top duo versus top duo. Lick Fury is in and says, this just in. Nielson claims Draisaitl worse than Nuge. That's not what I'm claiming. I just think I like that line better than the line when they're together. And I like the way the rest of the team is constructed when those two guys aren't together. Spency 5 cents, he says, stick with McDavid and Draisaitl together until it doesn't work, then split them up, not the other way around. Yeah, but we're on the verge of going into the playoffs, and we're still sitting here going, they're together this game, they're not together this game. Whereas, well, look at Dallas. You think Dallas cares if their big duos are together or however it works? They just leave them together. Working? Great. Not working? Great. They play together. That top 9 is basically locked in. Works extremely well. Eric Stewart says, what's the plus minus on Knobloch calling a timeout if things don't go well? He's a little hesitant on the timeouts. What do they say? You can't take your timeouts with you when you die, so you might as well use them. Eric is saying, can anyone come up with anything rational? They are with the rationale. Sorry, are they trying to figure out what to do in case of an injury? Feels like they've lost the plot. You can always go McDavid. This is pretty comfortable. Lean back like this. You can always go McDavid and Draisaitl, whatever. I mean, if you need, we'll see what happens. What'll probably happen come playoff time. They'll start on different lines, and if they're late in game 1, then they'll be put together, and then we'll be discussing whether they win or lose game 1. Do they go back to them in game 2, or do you leave them apart? That's how it's going to go. That's how it's gone here every single year in the postseason. So you can always put them together, but you have to figure out whether it's going to be Draisaitl on your second line or Draisaitl on your top line. You have to figure out what's going on in the middle. How much have we seen Nuge, Henrique, and Fogle? I know we've seen Perry, McLeod, and Kane. How much have we seen Henrique, Nuge, and Fogle? We've seen it. I'm just trying to think how much we've seen it. I don't know if Nuge, who hasn't scored an even strength goal in 6 weeks, Henrique and Fogle are a second line on a Stanley Cup championship team. What say you? Nasty chat or at 780-218-9999. Smitty the Welder's in and says, this is a fun oil stream today because we're going to hit like 30 minutes of everybody just talking about line combinations. And I'm going to be like, out, see you later. You know what you could probably have here in Edmonton? Just a 30-minute line combination show, even in the off season. Today we're going to look at this solution. I honestly, this is kind of disgusting and sick, but I think we could actually make just a 30-minute line combination show really work. Yeah, so Smitty the Welder says, Nuge hasn't been good lately. Should be. Kane. Okay, now we're heating up. Kane, McDavid, Hyman, Nuge, Draisaitl, Fogle, and then McLeod on the wing with Henrique and Perry. Yeah. I mean, I like that. Huntorio Mome says the Avs won with a loaded top line. But the Avs top line is always loaded. Are McKinnon, how often are McKinnon and Rantanen not together? Is that not, this is not, they split them up for 3 games and put them back together for 3 games. And that line is, those two guys are pretty much together all the time. Yeah, and Penner's Pancake says you could easily have a daily 30-minute show on line combinations. Calvin says, I'm scared Nuge will be invisible by the playoffs, kind of like last year. Ontario Mom says, this is all about getting 29 going. I am sorry. If that is what this is, then they're screwed. Screwed. If you need to put Leon Draisaitl with Connor McDavid to get him going, then you don't have a hope in hell of winning a Stanley Cup anyway. That cannot be what this is about. This is probably about them wanting to go head-to-head, McDavid and Draisaitl versus McKinnon and Rantanen, which I don't even necessarily know that's a great idea, to be honest with you. But this could not be about getting Leon Draisaitl going. Leon Draisaitl should never in a million years get to have the game he had last night and then get to go play with 97 tonight. And it might just be a matchup thing because it's Colorado, so that's what they're doing. But that should just not be the case. It shouldn't be the case. You should not be rewarded by playing alongside Connor McDavid when you were directly responsible for 2 goals against last game. And then 2 bad penalties before. I mean, that just seems kind of crazy. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Guys, if Nuge and Henrique aren't second-line guys, then what the hell are we even doing? It's a great question. Nuge hasn't played well lately. I mean, Nuge last year, I would have been like, yeah, definitely second-line guy. With that, no, you know what? That's not fact. I don't think we've ever viewed Nuge as the main driving piece on what you would describe as a great second line. Have we? I don't know. When they had Yamamoto and Nuge and Draisaitl together, Draisaitl's the driver. Obviously, Nuge, I think he's an excellent fit with Connor McDavid, but McDavid's the driver there. I don't know who technically is supposed to drive a Nuge, Fogle, Henrique line. I'll just ask that question. Norman at Combine says Kane having a less than decent year has hurt the line combinations. Yeah, that's a good point. Coach Mike says, are we sure Knobloch isn't just Woodcroft in an elaborate disguise? Woodcroft is Knobloch. Knobloch is Woodcroft. They pull off the mask at the end of the season. We're like, oh, that's why. That's a Scooby-Doo ending to the year. I don't know. Nuge is kind of invisible right now. It's true. At 5-on-5, when you haven't scored in 6 weeks, I don't think it's unfair for me to sit here and be, who's going to drive the Fogle, Henrique, Nuge line? Guys, how often did Crosby and Malkin need to play together? They just kind of take care of their business. They were apart much more than they were together. I don't have to go look that up. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. I remember watching those Pittsburgh Penguins teams. Guys, it's crazy how Nuge turned back into a 60-point player after an outlier season. He's going to be better than 60. He's going to be in that 70 to 80-point range, is he not? Which is still better than what he'd kind of done before. But 5-on-5 production certainly hasn't been there for the last little while. I don't know. When McDavid and Draisaitl are together, the middle six doesn't look like something that other teams would have to be worried about. You got one line being run by Nuge, who's struggling at 5-on-5. Adam Henrique, who I will give Henrique credit because he doesn't seem to get around great, but he has found a way to, bang in some goals around the net, which I think you have to 100% give him credit for. The other elements of his game that you kind of expected him to bring defensively and that type of thing, they've been there. But what do you expect in Warren Fogle grinding along the right side to be the difference maker on that line? I don't know if that's fair either. That's why this team, this is why it's interesting to me, because we sit here and go, if the Edmonton Oilers are going to win a Stanley Cup, it's going to have to be done with McDavid and Draisaitl on separate lines. And then they play a team like Colorado, and you put them back on the same line, and everybody goes, nuclear option, here we go. Well, what's going on here? Like, if the way they're going to win a Stanley Cup is having Nuge or McDavid and Draisaitl on different lines, when they play Colorado, don't put them together just to play against them. I still think they win tonight. I know it's been like a weird vibe with the line combination mixed up, but I still think they win tonight. Colorado and Edmonton have gone to overtime 5 straight games. Colorado winning 5 of them. I'll get to the biggest difference between these two teams. We just spent how much time talking about the line combinations up front? That's fine, but these two teams are separated somewhere else. So we'll get to that here coming up as well. But let's get to your EST Flyway keyword here on the Oil Stream. Like we said, abbreviated version of the Oil Stream today. So we're only going to go to about 12:30. So get this in right now and then be ready, Zactic, and we'll call somebody in about 5 and 6 minutes. Oh, my Gord says, the Avs won a cup with Rantanen and McKinnon on the same line. How many times do I have to say this? McKinnon and Rantanen play together. One of them is a winger. One of them is a center. McDavid and Draisaitl are both centers on their own line. Feel like I'm taking bloody crazy pills here. Don't compare McKinnon and Rantanen to McDavid and Draisaitl. Stop it. Go somewhere else. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous take. When Rantanen's not with McKinnon, he's not centering their second line. What are we doing? God, drives me nuts. Unbelievable. All right, your keyword. I got unhinged there. Like, stop comparing them. They're not the same situation. Stop pretending that they are. Your keyword is rebels. Text rebels right now. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Rebels. Rebels. I guess is in the Red Deer. Rebels. Oh, the Running Rebels in Vegas. That would make more sense. The Rebels. Rebels. Text rebels to 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Best of luck to everybody. You can get in on this, even if you think the situation with McKinnon and Rantanen is similar to McDavid and Draisaitl. We'll still let you qualify. 780-218-9999. We'll call somebody in about 5 minutes. Loomis is in and says, when we run McDry, we don't have anywhere near the same supporting line, Cass. They don't. Guys, the farthest they got in the playoffs was playing 91 and 97 and 29 on the same line. It's a recipe that worked. I'm not going to slag them for trying it. Yeah. I mean, if they want to try that, we haven't seen those guys together on a regular basis in quite some time. Then you're running. Nuge's game is not where it needs to be for McDavid and Draisaitl to play together. That's the end of the story. It's just not. Nuge's game right now is not where it needs to be for McDavid and Draisaitl to be on the same line. Maybe it does. Maybe tonight it starts to click for Nuge or something. But I don't think you can watch the last little while here and think that Nuge's game is stable and productive enough, even with Henrique by his side, to just roll McDavid and Draisaitl. And that if those guys are gonna have to play 24, 25 minutes a night in the playoffs because you don't have confidence or can't get anything produced from a Nuge or McLeod line, then that also is not a great recipe. And Loomis makes a good point. 91, Evander Kane is not where he was when they were playing those guys together. And you just kind of skip over things and say, screw it, put him back there anyway. Maybe. Okay, but here's the difference with these teams tonight. Okay, we know the Colorado Avalanche are awesome up front. We know the Edmonton Oilers are awesome up front. It's the back end where things are separated here. And in a playoff series, the Oilers forward group is probably going to have to find a way to just be that much better if they're going to pull this off. Because right now, the Colorado Avalanche are running Taves and McCarr together, Samuel Girard and Josh Manson, and then Jack Johnson and Sean Walker. I'm not even gonna mention what who did last time against the Edmonton Oilers. It looked like Phil Housley out there for a game. It was ridiculous. Weird time to reference Phil Housley, but I feel like we need more of those around here. McCarr, Manson, and Walker versus Bouchard, Desharnais, and Ceci. That's what you need to be concerned about. I don't care about tonight, whatever. It's a big game tonight, and some of you might, if they lose tonight, go, oh, they're not contenders. They're still contenders, no matter what happens. They're still a Stanley Cup contender. But if they were to end up meeting Colorado in a playoff series, and Dallas might have something to say about that, or Vegas or Vancouver in the other division might have something to say about that, but let's just say in an imaginary world, these two teams meet in a series. I do think you as Oilers fans should be concerned that the Colorado Avalanche are rolling out McCarr, Manson, and Walker on their right side, and the Oilers are rolling out Bouchard, Desharnais, and Ceci. In all elements, however you want to spin it, there's a significant advantage on that right side for the Colorado Avalanche blue line. And in case you're wondering, it was Walker I was talking about. My God, he looked good in that last game. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Zach Tecum is getting his qualifier for today. We will get into that. Chris says, we don't have another player that can step up if they shut down McDry. This is what we're talking about. Like, what you need to be is in a position that if you were to play these guys or you to play Dallas, whoever you play in the postseason, McDavid. I actually don't hate the suggestion earlier. I know Kane has not, and some people in town might be like, are you bloody nuts putting Kane back up there? But I don't mind the suggestion of Kane, McDavid, Hyman, Nuge, Draisaitl, insert random dude over here. And then, move Henrique back down. Nuge, Draisaitl, McLeod. Henrique, Fogle, Perry. I mean, there's different things you can do there. I think it was Norman Combine that said Kane's play this year has kind of screwed their line combinations, and he's right. You know that the chemistry is not there with Draisaitl and Kane. Doesn't even appear to be an option. So, if you're looking at it going Kane, McDavid, Hyman, and then if that line gets slowed down, Leon Draisaitl as a 40-goal, 100-point guy in a bit of a quiet season for him is good enough to drive that line and still win you a series. Right now, if they somehow contain the McDry line, Nugent, Hopkins, Henrique, and Warren Fogle is not winning you a series. Basically, all you're doing here is putting, and it's just tonight, I'll be very stunned if you get to game one of the playoffs and these two guys are together. But it's a full-blown eggs in one basket thing. And I don't think there's enough other eggs around the perimeter that are trickling around to be able to not lead you, but significantly contribute to a championship. They might prove me wrong, but I don't think they will. This one is, it says, Kane will be just fine come playoff times. That is where he shines. And that'll come down to a usage element on Evander Kane, for sure. I mean, I think if he's on the third line still, you're not going to see anything different. And we have to remember that 2 years ago in the playoffs, he was great. Last year in the playoffs, he was not. 5 points in 12 playoff games last year. 2 years ago in the playoffs, he was a point-per-game guy, 13 goals in 15 games, was phenomenal. Last year, not so much. So there could be the bump up in the playoff for Kane, but I don't think you just assume that because he was great 2 years ago. All right, let's get to our qualifier here. We'll get to a couple more messages after this before we wrap up an abbreviated edition of the Oil Stream, because have a meeting for EST that I can't miss, and Tommy unavailable until a little bit later on today. So, Zach, who's our qualifier, buddy?
Rusty Shackelford.
Rusty Shackelford. Let's bring in Rusty. Rusty, congratulations, buddy.
Hey, Dusty. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Who would you bring with you down to Vegas here, Rusty?
I don't know. Highest bidder, right? You're going to Vegas.
Good.
Got to throw the highest bidder out, but probably my girlfriend.
How much will she pay you?
No comment.
Yeah, okay. That's probably a good way to wrap up on Friday. Best of luck, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dusty.
There you go. Is Rusty Shackelford his real name? Don't tell me his real name.
No
but.
comment. Just as he said. No comment.
All right. Rusty Shackelford. Kane has been pouting about ice time for months, but he has been playing better. Give him a shot with McDavid before the playoffs. That's in from T-Man today. We were talking about on Two Guys and Goalie a little bit yesterday with Evander Kane. I thought after the maintenance day on a game day, I thought there was a pretty good push in his game for like not last game, but for that small stretch before that. He had that one game he had 4 or 5 shots on goal, I think. Obviously, he had a goal called back a couple of games ago. Had a fight mixed in there as well. I thought he was trending towards putting a puck in the back of the net, and maybe it's just one that would get his confidence going. But he hasn't done it yet, and I hope it doesn't slide. Like, I hope the game doesn't slide again. Maybe after he had those 2 or 3 good games, maybe they should have bumped him up to ride with 97 if you're going to move Nuge around. So much of this, like we've sat here today for 28 minutes going over these line combinations for tonight's game. And we also did come up with a great idea of just having a 30-minute line combination show every single day here on Edmonton Sports Talk. I think you get away with it, Zach, don't you? Like,
well, you're so fired up too. Like,
well, yeah,
everyone would get fired up. Like,
everyone gets fired up about line combinations.
Oh, I could talk about it for longer than 30 minutes. I swear. Yeah, I could sit there forever.
I look at it with Evander Kane and simply go, we wouldn't need to have these conversations if Kane and Draisaitl could just play together. If Kane and Draisaitl had some sort of chemistry, everything would be fine. You'd have Nuge with Hyman and McDavid, and you'd have Kane and Draisaitl exactly where it's supposed to be. Like, as much as Kane has struggled, we're really not talking too much about the fact that, like, he's a third liner this year. For a good chunk of this season, he's been a third liner, and they're not paying him to be on the third line. They're paying him to be a top 6 forward. And it's a chicken and egg thing, because his play has not made you think he should be a top 6 forward. But, you know, the other guys who are usually locked in the top 6 here, no matter how good or bad they've ever played, like Nuge hasn't scored a goal at 5-on-5 in 6 weeks.
But he's doing so much more. Yeah. He is doing so much more. That's the thing.
That's because he's on the power play.
Yeah.
Anybody on the power play is going to produce, right?
No, 100%. Well, he does the defensive play too. Like, when I look at Kane, he has over 20 goals. It doesn't feel like it. The way he plays is not really, comparable at all to Nuge. And Nuge deserves to be up in that spot in the top 6. And you look at Kane, and it's just almost painful, sort of. Like, you want him to do better. You see these glimpses of hope, like the last few games, that one game where he had 6 shots, as you mentioned, but it's just not there. And then trying to put Dry and Kane together, they can't work.
Everything would be fine if those guys were good together. Oh, my Gord is back in and says, Dusty told me to go somewhere else on the line combo segment. I'm not sure during 30 minutes the show would be great. Hey, look, Gord, you can send in Oilers lines all you want. I just want to reiterate here that the McKinnon Rantanen comparison is different than the Draisaitl McDavid comparison. That's all I was saying, buddy. Don't worry about that. We're in a good spot here still. Zedmo with the last comment today and says, so who does Leon have chemistry with besides Connor? We'll just leave it at that. Although I would say McLeod and Fogle have shown some glimpses. And Hyman will have chemistry with anyone because he's Hyman. Tommy Gazzola will have pre and post coming up tonight from Hudson's, 5:30 on White. Post-game to follow there as well. Enjoy that game tonight. Should be a big one. As always, the Oil Stream brought to you by Boston Pizza, Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen, and Coolbet as well. EST Parlay is up over on Coolbet right now, plus 500 for McDavid, 2 points, Draisaitl goal, Boucher point, and the Oilers to win tonight. Go snag that. Wish us luck at this meeting, and we'll talk to you Monday.